Every single time you seek validation or permission from anyone outside of you, including your parents, you are outsourcing your energy. Because every single time you do that, what you're doing is training yourself and training your mind that safety is only in the validation of those that are outside of you, no matter whether it's a person or any other external source. And so, what that does with time is that you will stop trusting your intuition, you will stop trusting your inner knowing, and you will feel like if you were to make your own decisions, if you were to decide for yourself without having anyone outside of you approving of that, then that will feel unsafe to you. And what that will lead you to is that, honey, every single time you do that, you are going to stay stuck in the standards and limitations of those around you, and you will never live a life that is different to them, because anything that they approve of or validate is exactly in congruence with what they believe is right, with what they believe is possible. And so you're training yourself to not be able to make decisions for yourself. And this is what you need to start to be doing, okay? Stop seeking permission from those outside of you. I don't care who that person is. I don't care the environment that you grew up in. I don't care the cultural conditioning that you are in. Don't make excuses that your parents are strict and the culture that you grew up in doesn't allow it, because each single time you agree to those excuses, you are also agreeing to keeping yourself stuck in the same environment that you're trying to break out of. And you cannot break out of something that doesn't align with you if you keep on agreeing with it. What you need to do is you need to come back to your own power, and you need to say, I make decisions for my life. Because let me tell you something, no one in your life knows what's right for you except for you, and no one knows best for you other than you, even your own parents. And I'm saying this for those that are already self-aware. I am saying this not for the people that are living in survival and have been making messy decisions in their life. I am saying this to the eldest daughters. I am saying this to people, to cycle breakers, to the women that know that they are self-aware enough to know what's right for them, but they have always felt like they are being restrained by external factors. Okay, that reclamation of your inner authority and your inner power starts with you. Never depend or rely on anything outside of you to give you that permission to do so, because if you keep on waiting, you're gonna keep on waiting forever, and that will never get you anywhere. This leads me to the second point, which is that you need to stop outsourcing your inner authority to external authoritative figures. And that's not just your parents. It's any figure that you perceive as authoritative, as higher than you, as above you. Whether it's a coach person that has credentials that tell you, I know best, I know more than you, I know better than you. No, honey, no. What you do is you listen with openness, and you decide what resonates with your truth, what resonates with your inner knowing and your inner authority. Never let anyone outside of you decide anything for your life. Each time you do that, you are giving your power away, and we are living in a society that is so conditioned and so used to giving all of our power away to everything outside of us, because it is so safe to let just someone out there or something outside of us to decide for us, because then we don't have to take responsibility, we don't have to take accountability, we don't have to take action, we don't have to step outside of our comfort zone and feel uncomfortable doing something that is different from everyone outside of us and from what everyone is telling us to do. And this is where it ends. If you want to truly reclaim your inner authority, to reclaim your power from those around you, this is where you need to start. And it's not something that you can avoid, because even if you listen to this, and you take one thing, and I hope that you do, just apply one thing and it will make the biggest difference in your life. you will still going to come back at some point in your life to everything that is being said here, because it doesn't just end with those people around you. It extends to everything else outside of you, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a scientist, whether it's a coach, whether it's a business professional that tells you the strategy that you need to apply for your business, even though you know it's not really right for you to do so. And again, it comes down to this deep programming that we have, each single one of us, where it's so easy to outsource our power. It's just so easy and comfortable to outsource our power, where to the point that it feels like if someone is really reclaiming their inner sovereignty and their inner authority, then they are being arrogant and they are seen as someone that is treating other people in a condescending way, even when that is not true. And you need to block your ears from those judgments, because I know that you, as pure-hearted, highly sensitive, soul-aligned person, is always doing what is right for them and what will never bring harm to those around them. And what you also need to know is that your inner authority is not something to be earned. And that is another conditioning that you need to face, honey. Because we are so conditioned to prove ourselves, to get something that we want, even when that something is outlaid for us as something that is our birthright. For example, abundance. Everyone tells you that it's your birthright, yet you still feel the need to prove yourself to get abundance and to do an effort in order to earn abundance. And that is all programming. That is not your truth. That is the programming playing. And as soon as you do not bring your conscious awareness to the program is going to keep on playing in the background, and it's going to use your own energy to keep itself alive. And you're going to wonder, how is it that your decisions are being made on automation without your conscious decision in them? You feel like as if you're making decisions that your mother would make or your sister would make. That is all programming. Let me tell you something. I don't care what you have been told. I don't care the cultural conditioning that was embedded in your psyche. I don't care the environment that you grew up in. I'm going to tell you something and let it be something that you never forget. You are never meant to live a life that is the same as those around you. Now, if that is your goal, then feel free. Please do your thing. There is nothing against that. Okay, if that aligns with you and that brings you joy and that brings you happiness, then please feel free to do that. But if you are watching this, I know that you are a cycle breaker, and I know that you are longing for a life that reflects who you truly are, a life that is your own, a life that is not determined or based on what those around you tell you is possible for you, or what the conditioning that you have inherited have made you believe about yourself and what you get to have and what you don't get to have. You are never meant to live a life that is the same as those that came before you, whether it's your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, I don't care, the entire damn lineage. You are meant to live a life of your own making, your own decisions, your own truth, your own empowered self-identity, your own sense of self, your own soul. Your own soul decides the life that you get to have, and no one else does. No matter how it may look like for you, because let me tell you, I used to live in full belief in all of the excuses that I made in the past as to what I get to have and not get to have in this lifetime, until I came to a point where I made a declaration that I will not be bound by anyone or anything that came before me or that is around me. And that's how relentless you need to be in what you desire and what you know is meant for you. It doesn't matter how many people around you tell you what you want is not possible, or you're crazy, or you're delusional. You need to become insensitive to that. And to be honest, when I am being called crazy or selfish or delusional, that's how I know I'm doing the right thing. Because I'm only being called those things from the people that I never want to have the same life as. Exactly. And that's how you need to think too. Look at the judgment and the criticism that you receive. Observe and notice that it's never coming from someone that is living a soul-aligned, fulfilling life. It's always coming from someone that is either threatened by your own potential and your energy, or that are so ingrained in their own limitation, in the box that they are living in, that they do not see anything outside of it as possible. And most often, these two things come hand in hand, okay? And you need to stop caring whether that type of backlash that you're getting is from your family or from your parents or from your friends. If you're going to keep on depending on their permission and their validation to live the life that you want, you will never live the life that you want. It is only when you start stepping into your own knowing and your own inner authority, even in the smallest, slightest things, that's how you start claiming your power back from those around you. That's how you start teaching yourself that what you are deciding, even if you end up making a mistake, even if you end up getting a result that you do not want, what is important, what matters here is that decision was made by you and not anyone else. Because the regret that you get because you listen to someone else's advice on what you should be doing, or what decision you should be making, or where you should be going in life, will outweigh the discomfort that you will feel if you yourself decided to do something or go after something and it didn't work out. And you do not have to wait to experience or get a taste of that regret, of that former regret, in order to know that you making your own decisions is a lot better than listening to someone else. And I'm not saying this to cut everyone out, talking about black and white thinking. I'm not telling you to cut everyone out. In fact, I'm not telling you to do anything. You decide what you want to do. You decide whether what I am saying in this video resonates with you, or maybe you say, man, this is all meaningless. It's pointless. Please do decide that and move on. What is important is that you get to make that decision and no one else. Stop trying to depend on other people to tell you what to do. I know that we are so comfortable consuming this type of content, this motivational and spiritual content, but please do not take it from a stance of you relying on someone to tell you what to do. But take it from a point of view where that person that you are listening to is activating something in you. That is a much more powerful stance to be in. That is a much more empowered place to be in. The person you're listening to is activating you, is not steering you, is not deciding for you. You decide that. You get to steer your own life in however you want it to be like. And this brings me to another very important point, which is stop being nice. Stop being nice. And I'm actually saying this to myself too. Because again, we women are so conditioned to being the nice girl, to behave nicely and be so considerate of other people, because honestly, this is an equivalence to safety for us. That is the conditioning. We equate that with safety. And at the same time, it's because society judges the people that have owned all parts of themselves and owned their own worth, especially women. And the women that are confident, the women that are unapologetic, are the same women that are talked about and condemned and deemed as narcissists and deemed as unlovable and deemed as, oh, you think you are better than us. Hasn't that made it clear to you that all that the societal conditioning wants you to do is to stay small and stay disempowered because they feel so threatened by the innate power that women have? And so they could not control that power. So what did they do? They induced fear. They induced programming and conditioning to make you make the decision for yourself to keep yourself disempowered. That would make the job a lot easier for them. And that's why you need to do this work. That's why you claiming your own power isn't just for yourself. It's for every woman around you. And also, you need to not care about how threatened or triggered they might be by your own self-confidence, by you owning yourself, by you claiming your own truth and standing in your truth no matter what those around you say or talk about you. You also have a responsibility to be committed to yourself and not abandon yourself just because the backlash and the negative, uncomfortable comments and talk that you are getting from others. And I know it's difficult. I know it can be difficult, but it also can be easy. It can be easy because when you reach a point where you've had enough, when you are fed up, when you are sick and tired of the way things have been, you reach a point where you are so relentless in your inner reclamation of empowerment, of authority, that it does not matter what anyone spews at you, whether it's online or whether it's your family, whether it's your friend, whether it's your coach. I don't care. And so that's why, for us highly sensitive women, for us cycle breakers, that's why it is said, that's why you see a lot online that, oh, I've entered my villain era, when it's just you reclaiming your truth, when it's just you saying no, when it is just you setting boundaries, when it is just you stopping people pleasing and stopping being nice to everyone around you just to keep them comfortable and to avoid the tension that might result otherwise. So yeah, be the villain in their story. Have fun doing it. Be the villain in everyone else's story if that means that you do not abandon yourself, if that means that you feel so fulfilled and nourished and powerful in your inner self, in you, in your inner structure that you decided, not anyone else, not any structure that someone else has decided and built for you and told you that those bounds are where you are meant to be in, and that's where you are meant to feel safe in. And anything outside of those bounds, you will not be safe. It's not meant for you. You will not be safe stepping outside of that. Who are you? Who are you to decide that for me? Who are you to decide anything for me in my life? And what I'm saying here also means that you take responsibility for any action that you make that may have a negative consequence. This doesn't apply only when life is all rainbows and sunshine and everything is so easy and going exactly as you want it to be. No, because having a human experience means experiencing contrast. It means experiencing two opposites of the same thing. And so when you are stepping into more inner authority, that comes with responsibility for the decisions and actions that you make. you will be able to handle it because you're going to have the capacity to handle it. The more that you step in your inner power and your inner authority, the more you reclaim yourself and your truth, the more your capacity expands to hold the other side of that. So there is nothing that you need to fear here. Only remember and reclaim. Only remember and reclaim. And lastly, which is my favorite point, is own your rage. Yeah, own your rage. One of the worst things that had a negative effect on my emotional health and on my body and on my mental health is suppressing my anger. And of course, that comes from conditioning. It can also come from not having a safe environment to express that. And I'm not saying that this as in lash out and harm other people. Absolutely not. This is not how you express your anger. This is not how you transmute your emotion. But suppressing anger, the more that you suppress your anger, the more it manifests as issues and illnesses in your body. And people might even tell you that you're always angry even though you're not, but that is just the trapped emotion of anger and resentment in your body. And you really would do yourself a big favor to process and release that trapped emotion, because there is no one out here that is worth you holding on to all of that anger in your body that is hurting you. No one is worth it. Nothing is worth it. So, what I mean by own your rage is that let yourself feel it, okay? If you feel like you are feeling angry and you have this, urge to suppress it and hold back, I want you to breathe in that moment. Pause, okay? You have every right to feel angry because it is telling you where a boundary has been crossed. It is telling you where something in your life is not going right, where you're not being respected, you're not being valued as you know you are meant to be. So you need to acknowledge that, because if you don't, it's just going to repeat again. It's going to come back again in a different form, and you're going to continue on feeling that until you process that emotion. Owning your rage means that you giving yourself the capacity to hold that rage without rushing to resolve it, without feeling the need to suppress it, without trying to fix it, but at the same time without reacting impulsively on it. That's where your power is. That sweet spot, that point is where your power lies, and you need to practice that. After giving yourself the space to feel that emotion and maybe even release any residue of past stuck anger that is in your body, and it's absolutely normal to feel that emotion again. Please don't let anyone tell you that if you heal and work on yourself and do the inner work, that you will never feel anger again. If you release your trapped, stuck emotions, you will never feel those emotions again. You know, that's not healthy. Of course you're going to feel those emotions again. You're a human. And it is natural, and it's actually benefiting you to feel that emotion, because that emotion is telling you something and you need to listen to that. And so when you are in that sweet spot, that point that I just described, you then have the opportunity to transmute your anger and make a decision, whether it is to set a boundary with someone, whether it is to make a change in your life, cut that person off, cut that friend off, move to a new place, and you will know what that anger is or rage is leading you towards. And please honor your emotions. We are, as women, more in tune with our bodies and the spiritual realm and our energy body more than men. And that means that any attempt at either suppressing the emotion or trying to forcefully fix any emotion that we have just because it doesn't feel comfortable is going to backlash at us. Yeah, and that is fine if that is happening, because also I've been there. I've been there for the longest time ever. I used to intellectualize all of my emotions, and I used to be so like controlling over my life, and I used to be so much in my masculine energy, and that is fine, that is okay. That is teaching you something as well. But as you become more in tune with your femininity, it becomes so much easier for you to allow the space for yourself to experience whatever you're experiencing in your body, because you are now feeling safe being in your body. And so these two really play with each other. They come hand in hand. And it's a process. It might be uncomfortable in the beginning, then it will feel, natural for you. It's also something related to what I've been saying. So you get to decide what meaning your experience has. Our experience is shaped by the meaning that we are giving things. So if you feel anger and you are giving meaning to that as something is wrong with you, you should not be feeling that emotion, you are being a bad person because you are feeling this anger, then you can imagine what this will lead you to. Because the meaning that you give it will determine the result that you will get from it. But if you decided that the meaning of the anger that you are experiencing is something telling you that a boundary is crossed, and you need to look into that, and you need to take the needed action or decision, whatever that might be right for you. You will know that for yourself. And that is going to be a completely different experience with your emotion, because as a natural byproduct, you will not feel the need to suppress it. To recap, anger is your asset, your rage. Honor it. Stop outsourcing your inner authority to external authoritative figures. Stop being nice. Stop constantly seeking permission and validation from those around you, especially your parents. Only you decide what's best for you and what's right for you in your life. And finally, your inner authority is not something to be earned, it's something to be activated. You unlock it. And I hope that this video has unlocked that for you, even in the smallest ways. Okay, I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.